obsessed.
This is a little bit of like a Love is Blind relationship for me. Oh my God.
This is the Crescent City Love is Blind.
This is literally what this is.
Oh, do you think he's going to propose?
I think he is.
Do you think that you can fall in love sight unseen?
I'm Kat.
And I'm Cass.
And you're listening to Two Book Bitches.
We're back again.
Welcome back, everyone,
to another episode.
Today we're back with another episode on House of Sky and Breath.
On HOSAB. This is our last back-to-back HOSAB episode, I think.
Yes, then back to regular schedule.
I'm taking a little breaky bake from HOSAB.
Yes.
But where did we... Any updates? I don't think so.
Not really.
None to mention. Hope you enjoyed that little rant about fantasy worlds in the last one.
Yes.
Please enjoy that. Hope you loved it. But otherwise, where did we leave off?
So today we're doing chapters 42 to 47.
Mm-hmm.
But we left off, if you remember. So Declan and Bryce return to the apartment after talking to the Prime to find Cormac all bloody after escaping from Mordok and his gang after like an intel pickup. And Cormac tells them that the hit on the spine was successful and that the mech suit and a bunch of weapons are now on an island called Idra, and that they need to assemble the gang and go there and make sure Pippa doesn't get her hands on those weapons.
I do remember things were picking up, you know?
Things are officially picking up. I am less bored now. Can confirm.
She is engaged. She is ready to read the rest of this book.
Yes.
Okay, so we're with Bryce, and Bryce is on her way to Celestina's office, but she gets interrupted by a phone call, and I think at first, like, she doesn't pick up, and then, like, Juniper texts her and is like, call me back now. So she calls Juniper, and Juniper absolutely loses it on Bryce, because if you guys remember, Bryce had called Juniper's manager at the CCB, essentially threatening, like, using her position of power as like a princess, and like I think she threatened to pull the Autumn King's donation unless like Juniper was made as principal, and that's exactly what happened. Juniper is made as principal, but obviously Juniper is like really mad about this because she's like, well, now I got the job because of you and like your influence, not because of my own merits. Like, I made history because you threatened someone, not because like I would have been like the first fawn to be like principal dancer on my own. So like Bryce is trying to apologize, but Juniper like she immediately hangs up. She's like, I am not dealing with this. So she hangs up on Bryce, and Bryce is like, oh, okay, like, let me just go to this meeting, and I'm going to deal with this shit later. So in the meeting, she asks Celestina to let Hunt out of his punishment for one night so that they can go visit Bryce's mom. That's the lie. But really, it's so that they can go to, like, the Coronal Islands and, like, go to Idra or whatever. Like, they need everyone, right? Celestina is kind of like, you know, she's like chuckling. She's being like really good natured about everything. And she's like kind of like commiserating with Bryce. And then she honestly ends up being, she's like, you know what? You should take Hunt home. She's like, and Bryce is like, oh my God, like, take Hunt home, like, as in take him home to my mom's. Like, she's being like, oh my God, thank you. And Celestina's like, no, like, take him home permanently because his punishment is over. And he's been moping around here, and it's, like, bringing down morale. Like, let him suffer for one more night, and then you can take him home tomorrow morning. And Bryce is obviously, like, very thankful for this. And she's like, oh, you know, like, I know that you're, like, the governor, and I'm, like, the princess of the Valbar and Fae. But if you ever want to have girl talk, like, I'm always here for you.
Like, is she really going to take her up on that offer? Be like,
no.
Hi, Bryce.
Hey, babe.
I really need to talk shit about my fake husband.
My
that I hate.
Husband. I don't know.
Do you want to meet for a coffee?
Did this make
and trade like sex stories?
Did this make you feel any differently about Celestina?
Maybe a little bit. I kind of started to feel bad for her because I was like, okay, maybe like her punishment for like on Hunt was because of Ephraim. Like, there's a lot of inner dynamics going on. She has to like keep face and all this. Yeah. So I don't know. Like, I still don't know what her MO is, though.
Mm-hmm.
And it's...
I don't know how to feel about her, like, overall, but this
Yeah.
definitely endeared her to me a
Yeah.
little bit. And I think that it was kind of one of those things where she's like, listen, like, I have to punish you somehow, so I'm going to give you this punishment. But, like, she had always meant to kind of, like, take it easy on him and, like, let him go for good behavior kind of thing. So I was like, all right, this is fine. After the meeting, Bryce calls Fury, and Fury, like, without missing a beat, she's like, I'm not getting in the middle of this. Like, I'm staying out of it. And not only am I staying out of this situation with you and Juniper, I'm staying out of this situation with, like, you and everything going down with Emil. Because Fury is, like, honestly, my first priority right now is making sure that, like, Juniper's safe. So they hang up. And then Bryce finds Hunt at the comitium and tells him the good news that he's off the hook. But they get interrupted by the Hind and the Hammer, who thankfully, like, fuck off very quickly. Like, they don't stick around. They're like, see ya, peace out. And then Hunt and Bryce start getting, like, a little hot and heavy. Like, she's, like, kissing him. She's like, oh, I can feel him getting hard. Like, she's, like, feeling all up on him, whatever. And Hunt kind of, like, gives her a little, like, finger before she leaves. And he, like, licks himself clean. And I'm like, I can dig it.
I don't know. This was interesting.
Why
not? I don't think he actually fingers her, though.
No, he kind of, like...
He, like, cups her
like he
vagine, you know?
Like, I think he touches her clit. And then
through
he's
the
like,
fabric.
And he's like...
Quite the appetizer.
Delicious. So, yeah, that's what he does. Which is fine, I guess, if that floats your boat. Now we're with Ethan, and he gets also a lot of fucking phone calls in this chapter. Like, Bryce is on the phone with Juniper. Bryce is on the phone with Fury. Now Ethan's on the phone with the Prime of the Wolves, who for some reason I don't picture having a cell phone, because I picture the Prime is very fucking old.
Yes, but this is, like, urban fantasy. And
no, I know.
I guess they had cell phones and technology for quite some time.
No, I totally get that. I just, like, I don't know what the image is just not...
Because, like, if you think about it, consider it, like, our generation or even our parents' generation, when they get super up in age, they're going to use cell phones.
100%.
Like, our grandparents' generations don't really know how to use cell phones.
My grandparents do.
Like, do they have an iPhone?
No. One of them has a flip phone, one of them has an Android, but they do know how to receive pictures. Which
well, that's good. Like,
they find very exciting.
But I think that, like, our grandparents' generations are, like, less of them actually know
100%.
how to use that kind of technology.
Yeah.
But, like, our parents and us, like, when we get up in age, like, we're gonna, you know, our generation's probably still gonna have Instagram. At,
I'm
like,
gonna
90,
still
you know?
scroll through TikTok in the nursing home.
So we're like the Prime, if you will.
Oh, cute. I kind of love that for me. So yeah, he gets a call from the Prime, and the Prime is like, why aren't you at the den anymore? Like, what's going on? And Ethan tells him about Sabine and, like, where he's been living with, like, the Fae. And the Prime is like, listen, I would make you the alpha of your own pack if you want. Like, you've always had it in you. I've always sensed it in you. And you've always kind of, like, stamped it down to, like, make other people happy. And if you want it, I'll deal with my daughter. Like, you don't have to deal with Sabine. I'll do it. Ethan ends up saying, like, you know what? This is a lot to think about. Just give me some time. And the Prime is like, no worries. Let me know. So Ethan finally makes it to his destination, like, where he was going. And he was actually going back to the Mystic's little house.
Like, I don't know why he was doing this. Like, was it not scary enough the first time? You need to ask him more questions. Like, my guy, find another way.
He couldn't go with Grace.
No.
He was like, you know what? I need to cause problems.
He needs to tempt fate always.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, you know what? I love to cause problems. So he kind of, like, knocks on the door, and, like, he's like, hello, like, no one seems to be there. So he kind of, like, shoves the door, and it, like, opens. So he's like, oh, well, if it's open, I'm just gonna walk inside. So he walks inside, and again, he's like, hello. But the voice that answers is female, and it turns out to be, like, the female mystic who is, like, out of her tank. And she explains it's because the astronomer didn't have the part he needed to fix her, like, the little tank machine thing. So the astronomer, I think, is at, like, the meat market, and she just has to, like, stay out of her tank until he comes back. They do start to talk a bit, and she eventually tells him he should seek out a necromancer if he wants to know the truth about his brother. And as he's kind of, like, leaving, he's like, okay, like, I'm gonna go. He catches, like, a little, like, whiff of her. Like, I don't know if there was, like, a breeze or, like, something.
I think like a little breeze.
Like a little twilight breeze.
Like a little, she stepped in front of a fan.
Exactly. And like he immediately looked like he was going to throw up. No. But he catches a whiff of her and he's like, what the fuck? You're a wolf. And I was like, oh, she's a wolf? That's crazy. And apparently her parents sold her when she was 4 because they were like a packless family. Like they didn't belong to a pack, but there was like 10 kids and stuff. So they needed like the money to like feed everyone, I guess. And she essentially has like no idea how long she's been there. She doesn't know her name. She doesn't know her parents' name. She doesn't know absolutely anything. But she's like, you know what? You should leave before the astronomer comes back. He tells her his name is like, my name's Ethan Holstrom. And like, if you ever need anything, like find some way to contact me and I'll help you out. And she kind of like nods. She's like, okay, like fine. He once again offers to get her out. He's like, I'll carry you out right now. I'll take you to the Prime. And like, she's kind of like, oh my God, you know the Prime? Like she's like in awe. And I'm like, is there something we don't know? Like what's going on here? She tells him once again to leave. And when she speaks, he recognizes a hint of like an alpha tone in her. He's like, oh, like there's a wolf in the tank and no less. She's showing alpha tendencies, which was really like, and Ethan's getting like really, really worked up by this. So as he's getting worked up, he decides to swipe the box that's filled with the fire sprite rings. And she's like, you can't take that. Like he's going to come looking for it. And he's like, well, if the astronomer wants them back, he can come and get them and like take it up with the Prime, basically. Essentially kind of hinting at like, you know, he's going to have to answer questions to the Prime if like he comes to see me kind of thing. And he leaves. Back with, and I have a feeling that's not the last time he's going to be there. Like, there's no way.
Well, I think that he's intrigued by this, like, wolf mystic, too, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And he, like, seems like he wants to help this wolf mystic.
Well, yeah, because he's like, she's packless. Like, we can't just, like, leave her there. Like, it's not right for a wolf to be, like, stuck in a tank kind of thing. Which I get his sentiment. Like, I understand. I think things are going to go bad, but I'm excited to see how this pans out.
But he was like, you know what? The one thing I can do is save the little fire sprite rings.
I love it. Now we're with Therion and the River Queen, and he's requesting, like, a large team for, like, the whole, like, Pippa Island meeting thing. But the Queen is like, no.
No, we will not help.
And then she sends him away. And I'm like, what was the point of that entire conversation? Like, she's like, you have enough friends. Like, you're good. You don't need a river team or whatever the fuck. Now we're with Rune. And Rune is on the mine bridge and he's talking to Day. And Day is like, are you here to talk business or flirt with me? Because I guess the way he started the conversation was like a little flirty. And they start talking about bedroom habits. And Rune is like, oh, it's always lady's choice with me. To which Day is like, oh, so are you not like a dominant male? And he's like, oh, no, I am. But I'm not into pressuring my partners. And then she's kind of like trying to dig. She's like, are you a wolf? Are you this? Like, she's trying to find out more information on him. And then he kind of like tries to guess what she is. And he's like, oh, I bet you're part of like Sky and Breath, like the group. And he makes a comment like saying that she's like, she reminds him of the wind. And she like thanks him for his comment because she's like, oh, like that's the first like genuine observation someone's made of me in like a very long time. He tells her that the rebels were successful in their spine hit and that they're going to the Chrono Islands next and that he will update her after the mission. She questions him on who will be there, about if Pippa is being given command, if he knows the name of the islands, the ship, etc., etc. And he's like, why the fuck are you grilling me? Like, is there something you need to tell me?
Yeah, see, this is when I started to get a little suspicious.
A little suspect?
I'm like, are we in the midst of a triple agent?
A triple agency? A little flip-flop?
Because then what happens later, I'm kind of thinking, someone must have tattled.
Someone
tattled.
Spilled the beans.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know.
You know what she was giving? She was giving, like, when you're younger and you're asking your mom if you can, like, go somewhere, and she's like, who's going to be there? When are you getting picked up? When are you getting dropped off? What are you guys going to be doing? What do their parents do? What's their blood type? Like, I was like, oh my God, girl.
Like,
relax.
What's their credit score?
No, what's their social insurance number? Do Americans call it social insurance number? No.
I think so.
SIN? Like the SIN number?
I think it's the social security number.
Oh, social security number, yes. We call it social insurance number up here.
I think I don't know.
But anyways, she says that she's grilling him because she wants to make sure that the information is like sound and that it's not like a trap.
Or is it because you're about to set one?
I don't know. And then suddenly Day like groans and like doubles over, and then she like disappears back the way she came, and Rune kind of like panics, so he runs after her and he slams into like a mental wall that she's put up, and he can't see anything, but he can feel her having sex. And it's not like he can feel that it's not pleasurable sex, I guess. And it's
like it's consensual, but
not like yes, it's consensual, but also like the lines are blurry.
Yeah, definitely blurry
like
lines
he's
here.
like, this doesn't seem
like it
right.
doesn't sit well.
Yeah, it doesn't sit well with Rune. He ends up waiting for her, and she does come back, and he's like, you didn't seem like you enjoyed that, like, are you okay, blah blah blah. And she confesses that she hates him being like the guy that she slept with, but that she's with him because things are complicated. And she's like, you know what, don't worry about me, because there's no place in this war for like worrying about others and if like my feelings are hurt and shit like that. And they get kind of like flirty again a little bit, and she's like, okay, like, I'm gonna go to bed. And then he tells her to stay. He's like, well, if your mind's not resting anyways, then like, why don't you stay here on the like mental bridge? And she's like, well, why? And he tells her that she makes him feel calm. He's like, I kind of just
cute.
I am obsessed.
This is a little bit of like a Love is Blind relationship for me.
God, this is the Crescent City Love is Blind.
This is literally what this is.
Oh, do you think he's gonna propose?
I think he is.
Do you think that you can fall in love sight unseen?
He basically is. He has no idea what she looks like.
Oh my God,
she's just like a fiery woman. That's it.
Oh my God, this is Love is Blind.
This is Love is Blind.
Oh my God, the next chapter, Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey are gonna pop out.
They might start asking the worst questions.
Yeah, literally, Vanessa's gonna be like, "Are you pregnant?" Like, Vanessa, babe,
like,
relax.
Discretion, please.
Literally just met like 20 seconds ago. So yeah, they get flirty. He tells her to stay, and she actually agrees, and they kind of like fall asleep on their little like mind couches.
Cute.
I love them so much. It's a problem. Okay, anyways.
Well, we don't really know much about them yet.
I literally don't care. I love them.
We can still ship them at this time.
I ship them so hard. I ship them very intensely.
So now we're with the usual gang, and they're on Idra, teleported there by Cormac. And I'm just going to like preface this by saying this was one of those chapters where I was reading it with an absolute like head empty situation going on. I probably read this chapter like a million times because I was like, what is going on? I was just confused, dazed and confused.
I want to make another preface that I actually just want to confess something else. I would even postulate that the next part of this entire episode is me being confused at what's going on.
Dazed and confused?
Because a lot of it was like on the islands, and I was like, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, it was just one of those moments where like there was a lot of description, not a lot of dialogue, and I was like, you lost me.
Yeah, it was all like, oh, the fucking flank is here,
you
the
lost
ship is
me.
here.
They're describing like, this tech stuff, and you lost me.
I glossed right over that.
You lost me, but I tried my best, so here it goes.
I know.
So anyways, they were teleported to this island. Cormac goes to talk to whoever is in charge from command to convince them that Pippa shouldn't be given the weapons, but when Cormac comes back to the group, he reports that Pippa is now in charge of the Valbaran front, and the weapons are all hers, so failed mission.
That's not good.
Waste of time, if you will.
Damn.
They then go to examine the new, like, mech suit prototype that is being, like, kept in, like, a locked metal sarcophagus.
That's so dramatic. Like, why can't you say, like, a metal box?
No, it's intense.
Like, why is it a sarcophagus?
Because
like,
that's how, like, top secret this stuff is.
A sarcophagus.
This thing inside the sarcophagus is top secret.
I get it. However, so you're telling me you strap this shit onto a train, okay? And a sarcophagus is more inconspicuous than a simple metal box?
But, like, they say sarcophagus, but it could also just be, like, the description of this intense box.
Oh, well, that's not, I'm picturing a full-blown sarcophagus.
Like, I'm not talking about like a Cleopatra sarcophagus.
Well, that's what I'm picturing.
No,
I'm picturing like Tutankhamun's.
I'm picturing like
just a coffin type thing.
A coffin-looking box, because the suit is like human shaped, right? Because it's like an Iron Man kind of looking suit.
Yes.
So picture Iron Man suit
in a coffin
in a big box, and like that kind of big box, well, you wouldn't really call a box. It's kind of too big to be called a box.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I don't like it.
Okay, whatever. Well, I'm just using the words.
It's not your fault.
SJM used.
It's not your fault. It's SJM's fault.
Either way, again, like I barely understood what happened this chapter, so it's fine. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, so they're going to look at this prototype, and then out walks Pippa, who gives them the code to the sarcophagus, saying that she's waiting for Hunt's analysis of the suit and how it was built. Mm-hmm. Pippa tells Cormac that she's surprised he hasn't tried to convince the rebels to put him in charge of the Baron front, or that he hasn't tried to capture her to force her to tell him everything that she knows about Emil.
She wants him to add some extra letters to his little, like, first commander of the Baron, whatever the
Northern front
of the fucking...
whatever that was.
Yeah.
So they finally open the sarcophagus, and Hunt starts examining the suit. Mm-hmm. And Pippa confirms that the Asteri designed the suit for basically for the veneer to pilot. Mm-hmm. So it's not for like human use, specifically for the veneer. Mm-hmm. Hunt tells them that the suit's metal has the same makeup as like Gorsian stone, which is interesting. What?
How does that work? Wait, if the suit is Gorsian, then the veneer get into it. Isn't that bad?
But it absorbs other people's magic.
Oh, I understand. I get it.
Right?
It's
because
a suck-up
he
power.
says that the Asteri has been researching a way to make Gorsian or absorb magic.
Oh, I just asked the stupid question one line too early. I understand.
I
couldn't remember because in my head I was like, that's dumb. Why would they make a suit that but I get it.
You're following now.
I got you.
You're back to following.
Back
Again,
to following.
it's truly what's happening in this chapter.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways.
You're watching the one brain cell between the two of us right now.
So
good luck.
Basically, Hunt thinks that it can draw first life from the ground and turn it into weapons immediately. So the suit basically would never run out of ammo or battery.
That's crazy.
So it's basically a weapon of mass destruction.
Not good.
And Hunt actually says that to Cormac that Pippa and no one else should have use of this weapon. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He tells everyone, this is a weapon of mass destruction. The best thing to do would be to track down the scientists behind this and destroy them and their plans so that no one can recreate this. Because that's how bad this is. No side of the war should have this. Because it's just going to kill a bunch of people.
Oh my god, it's giving Oppenheimer.
Basically.
Wow.
But Pippa says that the veneer deserve everything that's coming to them. And then a ship appears with a bunch of veneers who appear to be rebel sympathizers. So they want to help the cause. But then Pippa doesn't hesitate as she signals her Lightfall squadron to kill everyone on the ship.
She's actually insane.
But it's not just shooting them. They literally go and cut their heads off. So yeah, the gang is basically shocked, calling her a murdering psycho.
Yeah, because she is.
But she just says that the people on the ship were veneer and that they can't risk them telling the Asteri where they are, and that the order to kill that crew came from the command. So anyways, Pippa then leaves with her squadron. Mm-hmm. And Cormac confirms that Pippa does know where Emil is and tells Therion that if he wants to interrogate her, then go ahead, but he doesn't recommend it. Because then you're getting in some dangerous territory. Mm-hmm. The gang is now concerned that Pippa will use all these weapons to start some shit in Lunation.
Lunathian?
I'll never say it right. I'll always forget how it's said.
It's fine.
Whatever. But Bryce says that they can't let the Asteri or Ophion have the suit. And then Hunt destroys the suit with his lightning.
Fine.
But he doesn't end there. He starts destroying all the trucks of weapons. Nothing's left. And then the Ophion rebels start coming out, and Cormac tries to explain it by saying it was just an accident.
He's I'm sorry, my friend.
He's like, the suit came to life, launched its powers, started destroying everything. But the rebels aren't buying it, and they shoot Cormac.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
What is going on?
The gang is like, all right, time to skedaddle. And they're like, Cormac, you got to teleport us out of here. But Cormac can't because he was shot with a Gorsian bullet.
Of course.
And see, like the Gorsian bullet absorbs your magic.
I get it.
Yeah. So now he can't do anything.
That's crazy.
Pippa says they're all dead, but then Bryce basically like Care Bear stares, like
boom,
pops her chest out.
Love that.
At the rebels, managing to blind them all and give the gang a chance to make a run for it.
Where they're going?
They make it onto a boat. They're making their escape. And Bryce is just like frustrated now. She's like announces that she's done helping the rebels because she wants nothing to do with Pippa the Psycho and her clear vendetta against the Veneers, honestly.
Yeah.
Luckily, no boats. Like, they're afraid that the rebels are going to follow them, but no boats follow them. But Hunt catches a glimpse of a dog running like along the cliffs of the island.
Right.
And he recognizes the dog as Bastian, who seems to be warning them that something is coming from the west. But if Bastian is there, that means that the Hind can't be too far away either.
Yeah, like basically all the rest of them are coming.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another chapter summary where I skimmed the fuck out of because it was a lot of
it was too much, if you will.
It was a lot of back and forth talking about plans that I didn't quite understand. So Bryce is like, so they're on this boat, right, in the middle of the water, and they're like, fuck, well, the rebels are in one direction, the Hind is probably coming from another direction, like, what the F do we do? Like, we gotta get out of here. And Bryce is like, Cormac, like, teleport us out, like, I'll take out the bullet, and he's like, no, you can't, because the bullet, like, shatters on, like, impact, so she would have to pick out, like, all the teeny tiny little shards, and, like, she's not a fucking surgeon.
They don't have time for that.
They don't have time for that. They speculate that someone tipped off the Hind, and
I'm telling you, this right here is what I was referring to.
The triple dipple.
If Agent Daybright is a little bit of
like a flip flop agent,
like a triple agent, if you will.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I don't want it to be her because I think she's something else in my mind, but then I don't know who else kind of fucks up here. Do you find out
who fucks up here?
Like, who's the one that
honestly
tips it off?
Probably, but I don't remember.
Okay, so we'll find out together then, if anything.
Bryce is like, you know what? I'm going to try and teleport us out. Because, like, she's been trying to practice. Like, girly, you're not going to be able to.
No.
Like, that's a lot of pressure. And, like, you won't.
For your first time?
And there's, like, a lot of them, right? Like, it's not just, like, one person.
Right, and then she'd have to go back.
Exactly.
And she doesn't know how to teleport. And
it's not good.
It's not going to work.
So Therion is like, listen, our best bet, let's jump in the water because, like, I can kind of, like, cover you guys in the water a little bit. And so they all jump in the water, and then Therion uses his water magic to, like, kind of get them away from the boat. And as he does, like, literally a fucking torpedo hits it and blows it up. And
luckily, they got on the water.
Thankfully. And when they look behind them, there are 3 Omega boats in the water. So this is like bad news bears. So everyone is like desperately trying to think of a solution, but nothing would be safe at this point. Like, they're snipers, so like they can't fly. They can't fucking like, they can't teleport out. And like if Hunt uses his lightning, they're like, no, they're going to know it's us. And they essentially settle on like, you know what? Let's have Bryce try and blind the Hind and like whoever Sandriel's Triari are like here with like a burst of light, because like that can kind of be explained away by like someone else's power. It's not necessarily like,
I mean, that's a stretch.
I know she's been using that all over fucking Lunathion. You think that they're not going to know it's you, but I digress. And mind you, at this point, like Hunt is kind of like crackling with like lightning, sort of.
He's getting pissed.
He's getting like really pissed because they're being like backed into a corner. So unfortunately, the Hind starts to make her way over to them in the water on a wave skimmer alone, and she's like, well, look who we have here. So now they're busted. Like,
but see, this is what I'm confused to how they're gonna get out of
this pickle. I don't know.
Like, you're telling me even if they survive, the Hind's not gonna like reveal.
No, I know.
Which is why this is where my speculation is that the Hind is Agent Daybright. Because I think she's not going to say anything.
Right.
But then that kind of gives her away. Like, what's her motivation not to tell on them? Right? But then if she does tell on them, then she either is still Agent Daybright, but she's a triple agent. I don't know. Conflicted.
I'm not going to say anything because this part I do actually remember. So
okay, that's fine. I will continue to speculate and
speculate
be
away,
wrong
babe.
Every single time.
No, who knows? Hunt is like, what do you want with us? And the Hind is like, I actually have exactly what I want with you guys. Proof of your treachery.
Ma'am.
I'm going to need you to...
Their treachery?
Calm down.
Are you forgetting about your treachery?
I do love the word treachery, though.
Treachery.
like, seize him. Treacherous fool. We should bring back that shit. That's good.
I feel like treachery isn't really a word that can be used in like modern dialogue.
I'll figure out a way.
But we should find a way.
Well,
we should bring it back. I do agree.
We need to bring back Shakespearean insults.
Like, instead of saying terrible, it was treacherous.
You treacherous.
You know? Like, how was your day? Oh, it's terrible. It was treacherous.
It was a treacherous day.
Yeah.
That befell me. Seize the day. Yeah, I agree. We got to bring back Shakespearean language. She tells them to, like, the hind tells them, like, she's like, come with me or drown in the sea. Those are your two options. And that's when Hunt gives Bryce the signal to blind the hind. And as she's, like, doing it, suddenly, like, this massive Imperial boat comes up beneath them. And like, Hunt is going, like, fucking feral at this point, like, with rage. Like, his eyes are not, like, his eyes are just, like, clouded over with lightning. His entire skin is, like, crackling with lightning. Like, it's not going well. And they do end up going into the submersible before it dives down deep into the water. The people in the submersible are Mare, and they're like, we mean you no harm. We just want to help you. Like, we saw the signal for help. Like, I guess they saw Bryce's, like, light. Hunt is still losing it inside the ship, and lightning is, like, crackling over his skin. He's not listening to anyone. Bryce doing anything where she's like, oh my God, like, you got to calm down. Like, what the fuck? Like, but no one can get through to him. And Bryce is, like, mind speaking with Rune, and Rune tells her he's like this because as a mated male, he is utterly lethal. And keep in mind at this point, like, essentially Rune has figured out that Bryce and Hunt are mates.
So if we thought that maybe that they were just fake mates before this, like, they just said, I pick you to be my mate.
Yeah.
This is Rune confirming that, like, they are mates in, like, the face sense of the word.
Yes, they're true mates, body and soul, that now that he has a mate, like, anytime something like this happens, he will be absolutely, like, inconsolable with rage until, like, the threat is essentially neutralized. So that's kind of where we're at right now. So yeah, they're actual fated mates.
Which only makes me more concerned.
I know, fuck.
It only makes me more worried.
Now I'm getting more
them.
attached, and I don't like it. One of the women, the Mare women, introduces herself as Commander Sendez and says that they're in the Depth Charger, one of the city ships that belongs to the Ocean Queen's court.
And, like, at this point, I'm confused what side this ship is on. Like, I'm like, are they in a good situation? Are they in a bad situation?
I got the good situation vibe.
Yes, I did, but I was confused as to why. Like, why is this person, like, why is the Ocean Queen helping them? Like, that is what I wasn't understanding at this point. Oh. You get a bit about it later, but I'm like, why is the Ocean Queen helping rebels, kind of? Because they're basically rebels.
Yes.
Right?
Fair.
So now we're with Ethan, and he is at Rune's house with Flynn, Declan, and Mark, who's Declan's boyfriend. And they managed to free the fire sprites, which, like, are from the rings that Ethan stole from the astronomer. However, while 3 of them are actually fire sprites, the 4th being actually turns out to be, like, a female dragon shifter. And now we finally have a dragon in this book.
That makes everything better. This book was actually missing one thing, and it was specifically
a dragon.
And now we have one. And I'm excited to see where, like, it kind of goes.
Yeah, because, like, it's pretty late in the book now. Like, I think we're a little bit more than halfway through the book at this point.
I would imagine, like...
And I'm like, how is she going to come into play at this point?
I mean, I feel like if she's an important enough character, like, we might see her in CC3. And I'm hoping we see her in CC3.
Probably, I imagine.
Yeah.
Though, I don't know how the book ends at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, so now we finally have a dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Then we go back to the underwater ship with the rest of the gang, and Sendez tells them that the ship is fueled by the Ocean Queen's power. She says that they don't need to try to outrun the Omega boats that are, like, chasing them, because the ship is designed to camouflage with its surroundings. The glass of the ship, in fact, is, like, one way, so no one can see inside, and there's, like, no radar that can detect the ship due to the Ocean Queen's power.
Mm-hmm.
They then watch as the Omega boat, like, drifts right by them. Sandus tells them that they are not aligned with Ophion.
So there we go.
And that the Asteri don't know of this technology, and she trusts that none of them will say anything. just like she will keep all of their identities confidential.
Love that.
So she's like, you keep my secret, I keep your secret.
I love that for them.
Med witches then come to help Cormac with his wound and take him to surgery in order to like remove all the pieces of like the Gorsian bullet.
Yeah, like the shrapnel and shit.
Yeah. Sendez says that once the Omega boats have cleared the area, that she will drop them off wherever they want. Therion tells her to bring them to the mouth of like Istros, where his people will like meet them. And Sendez says that they will probably arrive there at dawn. Bryce then asks if her and Hunt can go into this like biodome on the ship, and Sendez says that she will close it off to the public. So Bryce and Hunt then go into this biodome, and Sendez seals off the doors, telling Ruin that she thinks that Bryce and Hunt could use a little privacy.
So, mind you, at this point, Bryce is still, or I guess not Bryce, Hunt is like crackling with power. So, like, he can't bring himself to.
Like, he hasn't calmed down.
Yes.
And even, like, Ruin is, like, telling her, like, you need to calm this guy down.
Like, I don't know how you have to do
like,
it.
Figure it out.
Figure it out.
And I guess maybe she has a little bit of an idea of how to do it.
Yep. Because they finally have sex. So they reach this like small clearing and like the biodome, which I think is like, I don't know why, that's like so sexy. Like
in a biodome. But
like
like also
nature?
What kind of threw me off for a little sec was I'm like, guys, you didn't wait that long before you like started going at it. So I'm thinking, I'm like, was there already no one in this biodome? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they sealed it off. Like, give it a couple minutes.
Oh my God, can you imagine you're that, like, one awkward person that accidentally gets locked in the biodome and you just have to, like, sit there against the wall as, like, you hear Bryce and Hunt,
But
like,
that was my thought. I was like, there's no time lapse between them walking in and her sealing off the doors.
No, literally, because, like, they walk in, Sendez seals the doors, Bryce gets butt naked, and she's like, Hunt, get undressed. And he's like, but I'm gonna hurt you, like, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, anything you take, like, anything you throw at me, like, I can take. And they finally have sex after all this time of pining, and they're having, like, an amazing time. And, like, low-key, this was a good sex scene. We do get some weird, like, we get, like, I'm pretty sure we get, like, velvet cock in this, which I was like, ugh. I could have done away with the velvet part.
We can never get away with that.
We
Without
can never,
that with a Sarah J. Maas.
Velvet cock.
She loves that
like,
one.
She loves the word velvet. Velvet steel. Yeah. But it's good. And, like, they're just having a great time. Their powers are basically, like, merging. Like, Bryce is saying, I love you. Like, his lightning and her starlight are, like, coming together. It's, like, bouncing off of each other. And they're kind of, like, in, like, a little, like, sex trance, I guess. Like, they're really just into what they're doing. And when they finally get out of their sex trance, they realize that they are in the airlock, aka they teleported or like sexported, if you will.
Sex-supported.
Sex-supported. They're just like, boop. How did this happen?
I don't know. You're looking at the wrong person to answer that question.
Can you imagine, like, every time you orgasm, you literally, like, just boop?
But see, that's now my thought. I'm like, is this what's going to happen every time they have sex? Like, how are they going to rein that in?
I don't know.
So, like, think about it. 1 minute you're on the bed. Next minute you're, like, on the roof. Like, how do you stop that?
I don't know.
Like, how do you control
But I'm sure
that?
they're willing to do the scientific experiments to find out. You know?
I'm sure they'll test it every which way.
Spicy pepper rating?
I think I'll give it a 4. 4.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Why the not 0.5 full?
The velvet cock.
The velvet cock comment got you, eh?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 5 just for the pure, like, I waited for this to happen for so long.
It's true. We really did
felt
wait.
gratified by it.
We did really wait a long time for this.
And honestly, it was good. It had, like, good, like it had good act. Like, lots of stuff was going on. There was lots of hands. There was lots of feeling. There was lots. It was good. I really enjoyed it. I'm gonna give it 5 out of 5 spicy peppers. It got me a little excited. We're back with Ethan at the house, and they find out the names of the 3 fire sprites. So it's Riti, Milana, and Sasa. Those are such fun names. I kind of love that. And the dragon shifter's name is Ariadne,
which I like, and I wonder if
it connects to the myth of Ariadne.
Yeah, a little
because
bit.
Ariadne was the one who gave him the. Am I thinking of this right? In the Minotaur.
I think so.
Where
I don't remember.
And she was the one who gave him the
head.
string.
Isn't she a spider?
That's what I thought too.
Is that not the name Ariadne? Like, that's a spider. I swear it's a spider.
Okay, wait, can we Google? Hold on. Ariadne.
I swear it's a spider.
Greek mythology. All right, ready? Okay. In Greek mythology, Ariadne was a Cretan princess and the daughter of King Minos of Crete. There are different versions of the myth, but she's known for helping Theseus escape the Minotaur and being abandoned by him on the Isle of Naxos. Is there not something about a spider named Ariadne? Like Ariadne.
Look it up. Ariadne the spider.
Oh. No, it's Arachne.
No, we were very off.
We were really off.
This is again showing you that one brain cell that we're sharing today.
This is the one brain cell just bouncing back and forth. But anyways, so Ariadne, so if it's going along with the Greek myth, like, is she gonna like help lead them out of somewhere? Lead them, like, I don't know. Are they gonna abandon her?
Was she already abandoned?
Oh, and she helped someone find somewhere, like,
you know, like, we don't have her backstory. Like, how was she kidnapped? Maybe she was abandoned.
Maybe. They all have the, like, SPQM brand on them, meaning that they are slaves owned by the stupid-ass astronomer. Ariadne tells them that the mystics are also his slaves and that the astronomer favors the wolf mystic and will never let her go, which is obviously, like, bad news bears to Ethan. Mark says that there are like laws about slaves and their treatment, and that if they can prove they were severely mistreated by the astronomer, then it might be allowed for them to be purchased by someone else. The only way for them to be free would be if the new owner freed them, and then Ariadne suggests that Mark and his friends buy them and free them. Ariadne confirms that the astronomer tortures the mystics, torturing the wolf mystic the worst because she's very defiant. And I think that, like, in the chapter where Ethan had talked to her, she alluded to the fact that, like, if she does something he doesn't like or if she rebels, he sends her down to hell with, like, a really stupid question. Mm-hmm. And, like, the demons kind of, like, have their way with her. Like, it's not great.
Fun.
Exactly. So yeah, Flynn asks Ariadne why she doesn't just shift into her dragon form and, like, run away, but Ariadne says that the slave brand prevents her from doing that. Kind of like when the slave brand was off Hunt, he, like, got his, like, full
powers back,
know?
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of dragon she is.
I'm picturing, like, a gold dragon.
I'm literally picturing Aunt Darna from Fourth Wing.
Yeah.
But
you know what? I'm picturing more of, like, not like the typical look of a dragon, but more like
long,
like that long,
like a Weaver-y. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's kind of what I'm picturing.
You know what? The shared brain cell, but this is
right?
the positive part of sharing a brain cell, because,
like, more like Mushu kind of.
Yes,
but like gold, like bigger than, like, Mushu. Literally, like a big Mushu,
like a snaky Andarna. Yes.
Boom. We figured it out.
Oh my god, I love this for us. And not big.
No.
Human-sized. Like a human-sized snaky Andarna.
Maybe a little bit bigger than a human.
Okay, like a touch bigger. Okay. Wow. Glad we worked this out.
Yeah, hashed it out real fast.
It's nice when we, like, agree on, like, what something looks like, because that's not always the case. Back with the crew on the boat, Bryce is telling Cormac in graphic detail how she teleported after fucking Hunt's. I'm sorry. This is just so funny.
He's like, so what do you mean you teleported? Yeah, I was fucking Hunt's brains out.
Because I think she was riding him at this point or something. I don't know.
And then we both came, and then we just happened to find ourselves in the airlock.
Yeah, exactly.
So explain that. I don't know.
I don't know. Riddle me this.
This is what happened.
Cormac explains that it probably happened because their powers merged, and maybe Bryce needs Hunt's powers in order to teleport. And mind you, like we know that Bryce is kind of like a conduit. Like, she's been a conduit for Hunt's powers previously. Right. So it's kind of like checks out. Sendez then enters the room, saying that in Cormac's delirium during the surgery, he mentioned Sophie Renast. Sendez says that they were summoned to rescue her weeks ago, but when they reached her, she had already drowned. This was
what really threw me, because I was still pretty convinced that Sophie was alive at this point.
I mean, I'm still not convinced that she's not alive.
Well, this is why this is why I think that she's still alive.
Okay,
but
we'll talk about
that.
This,
so the gang now is in the morgue, and Cormac is kneeling beside the body of Sophie that is, like, covered by a sheet. But, like, I don't think it's actually ever, like, fully, like, explicitly written in the book that Cormac takes the sheet off to look at her face. He, like, takes the sheet off to look at her arms and stuff, because I think Therion notices some, like, markings on her arms, like, of, like, letters and numbers, but, like, it doesn't actually say that he, like, lifted the sheet to, like, confirm that it's her. So I'm thinking that he doesn't actually do that, and he just assumes it's her and she's still alive. This is someone else's body.
I'm in agreement.
So this is why I'm so convinced that she's kind of alive.
No, 100%. You can't tell me any different. I think she's alive. Like, I'm of the opinion that you didn't see her face, like, you didn't see her head, like.
There's no, like, real evidence of it.
Exactly.
In a way.
Agreed.
So, anyways, like I said, there are, like, numbers and letters carved on the body's arms, and no one knows what it means, but it might be some code. I think Therion, like, has pictures of it or whatever.
Good.
And obviously, reasonably so, they're all concerned about what they're going to do when they get home and what the Hind is going to do to them, because like she knows their identity now. But Bryce is convinced that maybe they can convince the Asteri that they were at the rebel base to stop Pippa and Ophion, but Cormac is like less convinced of that plan. He's like, I don't think you're gonna pull a fast one on them.
No, and I don't think the Asteri is gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
No, because they're gonna be like, well, why didn't you just tell us?
Yeah, like, why didn't you call us? You know, you have the Asteri number. Like, why didn't you, like, 1-800 us? Like,
so I don't know. This is an interesting plan, but we'll see.
I'm in agreement.
Alone, so now we're just with Therion, and he's alone with Sandez, and Sandez asks him why his queen involves herself with the rebels, but Therion says that she merely wants something that the rebels also want, aka a meal. He then asks Sendez if her Ocean Queen wants to overthrow the Asteri, but Sendez says that she doesn't know that what the queen's true motives are, but like her guess is that yes, she does, and says that the Ocean Queen remembers a time before the Asteri when leaders were fairly elected.
A democracy,
if you will, which they do not have now. Therion then asks her if she would release like Sophie's bodies to him, because I think like his queen wants the body, but Sandez is like, well, I think that's up to Cormac at this point. But Sandez is kind of like wonders why his queen would want Sophie's body to begin with, and suggests that the only reason would be like if the queen knew a necromancer to like reanimate the body to be able to use like the Thunderbird power. So basically like a weapon without a conscience.
I actually fucking hate that.
Yeah, I hope that's literally not the case, but ugh. So definitely don't give the body to her.
I don't like that.
But obviously like Therion knows that Cormac will never give Sophie's body to the River Queen. So he basically like drops. He's like, you know what? I'm not even gonna ask.
I'm not even gonna talk about this anymore.
Sendez tells Therion that if he ever needs anything, that they are there for him.
Love that.
Because she's like, you know, quit your job, come work for us.
Oh my god,
your life would be better here.
So fun.
But he turns it down for now.
Oh,
he's like, I like where I am. And I'm like, but do you?
Do you though?
Are you sure?
Are you sure about that?
Now we're with Rune, and he's sleeping. And while he's sleeping, he crosses like the mine bridge and starts talking to Agent Day.
This is my fucking bread and butter. I fucking love this shit.
So she said that she heard about an attack on the rebel base on Idra. Convenient. And was worried that maybe something bad happened to him. He tells her that he is safe, but that he witnessed like Pippa and the rebels kill innocent Veneer. And obviously Day calls Pippa a fanatic.
Yeah, she's like no better than the Asteri and like what they want to do.
But Rune is confused why anyone wants to work with Pippa if clearly a lot of people hate her and her tactics. But Day points out that there really isn't anyone else leading the cause. So it's kind of like, this is all we got, really. Day notices that Rune seems like very unsettled, and he tells her that it's because he saw a bunch of like fucked up shit today, and now he's having a hard time sleeping. Right. So Day offers to tell him a story to help him fall asleep.
Oh my god! So once
story time. Literally, that's how she starts it.
Oh my god, I love that.
Once upon a time, there was a young witch who lived in the woods. Basically.
Okay.
And one day, a prince was wandering in those woods and beheld her beauty and wanted her as his bride. But the witch had like no interest in being his bride, and so she started running in the woods, but the prince started to chase her. And as she ran, she asked the forest for help, and they started turning her into different creatures to help her escape the prince. But then once she turned into a bird, an archer shoots an arrow that hits her, and she starts falling to the earth.
Oh no.
But at this point, Rune starts falling asleep, so he doesn't hear the end of the story.
That's actually so fucking rude. Like, she's literally telling you a story. Can you not like stay awake?
Well, he wakes up again. And he's still in this mine bridge, like sleeping on his couch, I guess.
Yeah.
And he sees Day sleeping on her couch in front of him. So he starts approaching her, but this kind of startles her. And she asks him, like, what are you doing? And he says that he just wanted to know how the story ended. But she seems kind of pissed that he came kind of close to her. So she tells him that the story ends with the forest turning the witch into a beast that ends up killing the prince. And then she storms off and leaves the mine bridge.
So dramatic.
Very dramatic.
It seems like every time he gets a little bit like close to her, either like emotionally, mentally, like physically, like she runs in the opposite fucking direction.
Yeah, like
which
startles her.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess like you can chalk it up to her being like, well, we're supposed to be like spies, like, you know, you can't know my identity and shit, but I think it's deeper than that.
For sure.
Probably. I love them so much though, like so deeply, because it's giving like reluctant coworkers to lovers. You know?
Interesting trope.
Yeah. It's like, ugh, like we gotta work together, but like I kind of don't like you, but like it's like semi-flirty and like a little bit inappropriate. And that's my favorite. But that's it.
That's it. That's
For
the
this
end
part.
of part 2 of the book. So next episode on House of Sky and Breath, which is in like I think 2 weeks, we'll pick up at the beginning of part 3 of the book, which is called The Pit.
Yeah, and this is like the last part of the book. So really like things are gonna start like moving and grooving. Like we're getting to the end here.
Yes.
And like a lot of shit's gonna start to like happen. So but next week we are taking a break from House of Sky and Breath, and we are doing an episode on the Hunger Games universe and the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, including like a debrief on the movie, because the movie comes out November 17th. I'm so excited.
Me too. The movie looks good.
Did you read Ballad of Songbird and Snakes?
I will by the time we film that episode.
Okay, because I read it. I actually really enjoyed it.
Oh, that's good.
I actually really enjoyed it. The movie looks really good. It's just, it's giving, like, Hunger Games is my favorite dystopian, like, of that genre that came out where it was, like, dystopian young adult novels.
I mean, say what you will. I don't really think that the competition was that great anyways.
No, I know, but it started a
movement.
Hunger Games started the dystopian YA movement, and then we got, like, Divergent, like
The Maze Runner.
Yeah, like, all of this shit, like, came tumbling after, and I don't think any of them held a candle to the Hunger Games.
No, definitely not.
So it's incredible, and I'm so excited to do this episode next week.
It'll be fun.
Yeah. But in the meantime, if you want to know anything about the podcast, all the information is in the episode description below. If you feel so inclined, you can leave us a review or a comment or message us on Instagram or a like or subscribe, because we love interacting with you guys, and it would be very much appreciated, and it would make our day. So yeah.
Yeah, thanks for listening to Two Book Bitches.
Bye.